One.
One. Hi, everyone. Welcome
Hi
to
guys.
Above the Noise podcast,
Yay!
episode 2 in English.
We are so excited.
We are so excited and we have so much to talk about because a lot
Yep.
has been happening and
Mhm.
it's exactly in our lane of politics and geopolitics and what's going on around the world. So let's get started. Welcome.
Woohoo! Welcome, guys. Okay,
So,
maybe you have to start because I think that you are super, super excited about everything
yes,
around us,
I am so excited. Well, I'm not as excited as I am. I'm excited to be speaking to people. I'm excited to be
but you are
talking.
worried about the thing, about the things around us.
Exactly. Like I'm excited to share, I think, what we are thinking.
Hmm.
But I actually kind of and not angry. I don't think I'm angry, but as you said, yes, I'm worried because so much is going on. And specifically, this episode is going to be about Ukraine and Russia and the United States and what's been going on over the last few weeks. And I don't believe that we're headed in a good direction. Not at all,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Like always,
uh,
we think the same.
yeah, I think we would think the same exactly,
Yeah,
which is why we are like mostly aligned on things. So it makes us good co-hosts, I feel like.
yeah.
But yes, so much has been happening over the last few weeks. I would say that for me, there's a lot to kind of discuss, but for me, the thing that worries me the most is sort of this parroting of Russian propaganda, right? It's this idea that, all these things that have come out recently of Trump's mouth, including saying that, Ukraine started the war, it wasn't Russia, which is
Hmm.
obviously false because we all know what happened. Saying things like, yeah, well, Zelensky's actually a dictator because he didn't have elections during a wartime. I mean, of course, there's martial law, right? And Putin is the real dictator. Again, we all know that. And yesterday, I mean, at the time of filming this, yesterday there was a exchange in the Oval Office, which was so embarrassing to watch. And I feel like it's just been really like there was this I don't know, effect that I've been feeling where you kind of see Russian words and propaganda seep into the mainstream of American politics, which I don't, this again worries me a lot because from my perspective, I understand American isolationism. I understand that they are not willing, maybe, to spend so much money, which is a lot of money, like billions and billions of dollars in financial assistance and military equipment for a country that's frankly like so far away. They don't, most Americans, they maybe don't even know where it is. There's so much going on in their own country. For example, they're worried about the border, they're worried about inflation, they're worried about their jobs, people are homeless. I understand that there's a sentiment in the American public, and in a way, I kind of empathize with it, of course. And I don't know if I was there, I would maybe be feeling the same way. This sentiment of like, oh, well, we should not be as involved. We should not be sending so much money over. We should not be sending our soldiers. Why are we there? Why are we spending so much money? Why are we not spending that money on our own people? That whole isolationist position, I get it. I think that the American public is not as involved in what's going on around the world as the Congress are, like as the people that are actually running the country are involved, and that makes sense. What worries me personally is this parroting, as I said, of like obvious, blatant Russian propaganda. That I don't understand. This isolationism, I understand. Saying things that are false, saying things that are just not true, and frankly, things that Russia has been repeating over the last 3 years, and we know that they're false. That is what worries me the most.
Mm, absolutely. Uh, for me, like for you, the situation is worrying because they continue to tell lies and false facts, and it seems that Americans, they don't check any facts. That like, okay, if Trump say that, oh yeah, yeah, it's true, or if they read something, I don't know, never check what exactly going on, and uh, this is worrying for me too. And I can understand how like actually I can understand how this this is happening, you know, like
Same for me. It's the
like
same.
how
I,
it's possible. It's blow my mind. This is
I,
the thing that I can't understand really.
It's the same for me. And at first, I will tell you how it's possible that they don't check. I told you already, they don't care. And in majority, and it's not because they're evil or they're bad people. Oh my God, they don't care what's going on around the world. No, it's like so far away from them. I think because we're both from Europe, and especially also we're from Eastern Europe, so this is so much closer to us than it is to maybe other countries. But we kind of have this notion because American foreign policy typically is so involved in what's going on around the world, that and everywhere around the world, like every corner of the world, that we think that Americans actually know a lot of these things. We think that they have very strong positions pro or against something, which is just not true, because again, it's so far away from them. They live in this huge swath of land, like purely geographically. There's one ocean on one side and there's another ocean on the other side. So it's not something that worries them. Like the daily everyday American doesn't wake up thinking about, oh my God, there's a war in Ukraine. Like maybe
But
he thought about this for a second, for a day or two when the war broke out, but it doesn't affect their day to day the way it affects us. And it's not because again they're not bad people, it's just so far away from them.
yeah, I understand you, but that's not entirely true about us, because I think we are interested in the whole world. We are like Europeans. We know about the Israel situation. We know about the Africans, the problem that they have there. Like we always want to know something else. How American can be like that? I can understand. Like for me, it's
Yeah,
really
I
how
don't
they
want.
live how they live, because really I can understand this. For me it's unbelievable.
I don't want to like bash them. Like, I don't want to be like, oh my God, they're so like bad with geography, this and that. No, I think generally people are curious. Some people are curious, but I think you have to understand that they're really just for us, like as you said, like in Europe, we know this and we know that. Yeah, because we have to. Like, we're a whole bunch of small countries together. If you don't know what's going on in Israel, you know what's going on with your neighbor. We know what's going on with Greece. We know what's going on with Romania. We know what's going on with these smaller countries next to us. So you kind of have to, because you are one small part of a bigger entity. And, we're closer to the Middle East. And obviously, like we had the situation with the refugees. So we kind of have to know what's going on there as well. And then we're close to Asia and Russia and this and that. Whereas that's what I'm trying to tell you, for the everyday like normal American, that's not such a big thing, that because they
Mhm.
have one ocean on one side, they have another ocean on the other side, they have Canada up north, which is basically like America 2.0. I'm sorry,
Oh my
Canada, I'm so sorry. And the only different, and I put different in air quotes, is like Mexico from the south, which is, that's it. And for them, each state is like a country. And that's why, again, what I said in the beginning, for a lot of them, that's such a far away conflict that doesn't affect them. It's not a part of their daily life, and they cannot explain to themselves, wait a second, so our own money that our government collected in taxes, in 200 billion plus whatever the actual number is,
Yeah, yeah, I
because
understand that.
they're
Point of
not
view,
able
yeah,
to.
I understand that
Yes, so
perfectly.
I
Like this
get
point of
that,
view is
but
okay.
what I don't get is like, okay, you can have this position. I think in the long run, it's not good for your foreign policy. It's not good for the world. I get that. What I don't get is, why do you have to go out of your way to say things that are false, that are lies, and you're just basically repeating what Putin has been saying for the past 3, even 10 years. Like that, I don't get. You have every right to be an isolationist, but you don't have the right to accuse another country of starting a war when they're the ones that got invaded.
Exactly, yeah, yeah, I think absolutely the same here. um for me the problem is with Trump itself. I can understand him, because last time when we talk about this, what I remember what I say that he's not so stupid. Of course, he's a like businessman. He's a smart guy. And right now I am like, oh my god, what the hell? What the hell? Like uh, almost every action, it's unbelievable. Like I don't know if you watch it, of course, for sure you saw how he talked with Macron. Even I was in shock
Mhm.
too.
Yeah,
uh,
same. And
okay,
for
with Zelensky what was like awful, but even in with Macron he was like uh, really it worries me because he's acting like Putin actually, and this is I don't know how can I explain this, but it's worrying me a lot because we
same.
know who is Putin,
Yeah,
but Trump, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that because again, I remember what I say last time, and right now it's completely opposite, and I'm like, oh my god, I was so freaking dumb,
yeah,
and yeah,
same. So I think for people that may be watching this episode, hopefully, and then if you're interested, you can. It's our second actually episode, and the first one that we did was right after the U.S. election in November, and we were basically speaking about, well, what are our predictions about how is this going to affect the world, and specifically how it's going to be affecting the wars in Ukraine and Israel, and we basically both said like, yes, he wants to negotiate peace, and he, because he was running on this, he didn't really specify how he wants to get to peace, but his message was like, well, if I was president, this would have never happened, and when I'm president again, if I get elected, I will end this. So we were like, okay, he's going to negotiate, that's great. Again, the point that worries me as well, as you said, is not the fact that he wants to negotiate. That's a good thing. Okay, he wants to negotiate. I actually agree. Like, we should be using diplomacy. We should be talking to Russia. We should be understanding what they want. What are their uh, claims? What do they need to sign a peace deal that they are actually going to respect? But the thing that worries me a lot is, as you said, like this notion that even yesterday, when you watched this, I don't know if you saw this exchange in the White House with
yeah, yeah,
Zelensky.
yeah. Of course, of course,
This was so ridiculous. They were acting like toddlers, and it was
exactly.
so embarrassing because they were like, "Oh, you come here, you don't respect us. Like, you should respect us. Did you even say thank you? Like, this is not kindergarten, okay? Like, you cannot just." The person has come to you. He's in your office. He's in the Oval Office, and you're like, "I demand respect." Like, I think there's this part of him that's like, well, I want to be respected. I want everybody to know who's the boss. And this is classic Trump. I feel like he's always been like this, but it's on steroids. Like, this is now go crazy.
For me, it's crazy, absolutely crazy because it was humiliation. It was too far. Okay, you can be a little arrogant, of course, it's possible, but this was humiliation. They
Exactly.
ask Zelensky why he's wearing this clothes. What the fuck? I don't know if
Yeah,
you saw this.
I didn't see that. I watched I know the whole meeting is like around 50 minutes. I watched the thing where they actually shit hit the
Escalate.
fan and they started talking back and forth. Exactly, it escalated. I didn't see that, but yeah, I've seen this comment a lot as well. Like, oh, we sent him so much money. Why can't he buy a suit or something like that? And again, I feel like I want to again make this distinction very clear. Like, it's a legitimate question to be asking for your government. Like, how much money are we spending? Why are we spending? How is it being used? I know people have concerns about corruption in Ukraine. I understand that too. But again, as you said, you cannot really act this way. This is not, you're a world leader. You're not a toddler. You're not in kindergarten. The way they kind of just attacked him, demanding respect, demanding he say thank you. Did you even say thank you to us? Like, excuse me, but I don't think there's anybody that supports Ukraine, whether that's a Ukrainian or someone else, like from Europe or anywhere around the world, that does not understand how fundamentally important American support was and still is. I think everybody knows that if it were not for the US military equipment, assistance, monetary assistance, this war would probably end very badly for Zelensky. He would probably be dead at this point, and there would be a puppet government installed in Kiev,
Mhm.
the way there is in Belarus. I think we all
Exactly.
understand that. We're not like stupid. We're not ignoring the contribution America has made. But I don't understand this notion of like trying to tell them who's the boss. I mean, yes, you can. You've chosen, not you, Biden. Okay, it was not Trump, but Biden has chosen to ally himself and his government with Ukraine. Now, if you want to backtrack that position and say like we're out, again, that's fine, but you don't get to be the bully here. You don't get to bully this person or this country into signing an agreement that they don't believe is going to work out for them in the end.
Hmm. This was unacceptable behavior, in my opinion. It was mm, mm, mm. If you are a president of United States, you can be like that. Uh,
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I'm agree with you. But what worries me, what next, Didem? What do you expect to happen? This is the real issue. Uh, where you go now?
Yeah. Well, I think, as I said, I'm so worried that it seems like Trump has bought into the lies of Putin that, he's repeated over the last couple of weeks. Like, Ukraine started the war and
I,
Zelensky is a
uh,
dictator
Sorry,
and this and that.
but I have to ask you another question.
Mhm.
Uh, what do you think that actually what exactly happened between Putin and Trump? What do you think? Like,
I actually, I mean, I don't know, obviously, because I was not there.
yeah.
I wish I knew. That would be very interesting. I think, look, this is maybe more like a psychological thing, right? I feel like Putin and Trump are on the same age. They're both men. I mean, Zelensky's also a man, but he's younger. I feel like there is this level of like, as you said, maybe a little bit. I don't think Trump is acting like Putin necessarily, but he respects him. I feel like that's such a big thing in men's spaces. Like, oh, he demands my respect. Like, you kind of, I think he respects him. I think he takes him seriously. I think he is aware. I hope he's aware he's a dictator, but that doesn't matter that much to him. I think there's a level of respect. Like strength gets respect. That's just not like the male world. That's the world in general. If you're strong, you're respected. You're weak, ideally people don't disrespect you, but unfortunately we don't live in that kind of world, right? So you kind of strength demands respect, strength gets respect, and I feel like what happened between them is just a phone call, to be honest. But again, like, I don't know what went down there, but from the outside what I see is that there's this real camaraderie between the two, because I see the world the same way,
Wow.
I think,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
You have right, actually. I was thinking all the time that um, Echo, do you hear me? I think
Yeah.
it's okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry. Um, I was thinking that maybe uh, Putin. I don't know. Maybe Putin tried to talk with him in the way that Trump will feel powerful, like something.
Respect, right? It's
Not,
respect.
not only respect, but like you are the man who can fix the things and something like that. Because what I saw yesterday with the Zelensky, he was like talking normally,
Hmm.
explain things in normal way, but all of them were like, "You don't respect us because you have to thankful and stuff." Maybe Putin talking differently in different way, like I
Could
don't.
be. Yeah, like stroking his ego in a way. That could be for sure. I mean, I don't know. We don't know what happened. Obviously, we're not going to know what happened. But what really worries me is really this notion that he's trying to. And by the way, just to be very clear, because this is, we're criticizing this guy for 20 minutes now, and we'll continue criticizing him about this specific stance on foreign policy. But I think we both kind of approach this, and if people want to watch the first episode, we thought, and we still think, I still think at least, that he was a better candidate than Kamala Harris and he should have been the president. And I think
Mhm.
he's actually really good for America domestically. He's identified the right problems, he's solving them. He's really made sure that his priorities are fixing what's not working in the States. So I think I approach this from the perspective not of someone that kind of already hates Trump anyways, because there's so many people like that that they've never considered to take him
Yeah, we are not
seriously.
haters. We actually
Exactly.
we trying to understand what's going on exactly. Uh,
Exactly.
Not
Yeah.
to hate, just to hate someone. Just to understand. Because yeah, last time we was even happy, I can say, about Trump, and
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Like
and
I think he deserved it. I think he's good for the country, for his
exactly.
country. We hoped, and that's what we talked about. Like, oh, how is he gonna be about the world actually? Because I think we know, like he's gonna obviously take care of what's not working. I think in the states, like immigration and inflation and border security and all these things. So we are not approaching. I guess why I'm saying this is because obviously, like, there's so many people that are probably gonna talk
Just
about
hating.
this. Exactly, just hating. They never liked him. They've not liked him for 10 years already. They just hate him for the sake of hating him. He can do nothing right. There's people that basically look at him and they're like, he can do nothing right. No policy position, no executive order that he signs, no word that comes out of his mouth is right because they just hate, hate, hate. And we come at this from the position of people that really thought he is the better candidate. We were happy after he won. I mean, we're not Americans, but we thought that he would be better also for the world. But now seeing what's happened over the last few weeks, it makes me very worried, specifically about his foreign policy, because it's like I never in my wildest dreams
Hmm.
imagined that there will be a sitting United States president, a Republican that
Hmm.
is more closely aligning himself intentionally with Russia and Putin than he is
Hmm.
with Europe. That I never imagined I would see, and I don't
Exactly.
understand what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Actually, we are trying to find a balance.
Yeah,
Like we trying to understand both of the sides. Like I'm actually I'm trying to understand Putin too. To see
same. What does he
his
want?
point of view. Yeah, yeah.
What do you want? Nobody tells us. What do you actually want?
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to understand Zelensky. Of course, I can understand him easily because, come on, who wants
I
to?
think he's the person to in this conflict, in this triangle, let's say, that is easiest to understand, because to be
Hmm.
honest, his positions are. I think he's been given so much airtime in over the last 3 years. Like, he's been given the time to articulate his positions, and he doesn't run away from the media. He doesn't run away
Yeah,
specifically from Western media. He's always there. Like, even now, I watched. He did an interview with Fox News right after what happened yesterday in the White House,
really,
and
I don't know about that.
yes, and he's still very like holding his ground. It's like, okay, these are our demands. We want security guarantees from the United States. We're ready to sign the minerals deal. So I think from my perspective, he's been actually the most transparent. And he wants his country intact. That I get, right? What I don't understand, as you said, is also like in terms of what Putin wants. That's something that's very he's like an enigma. He likes being a mystery, I feel like. And he has never sat down with the journalist, even in his own country. By the way, I mean, sorry to say this, but I think journalism in Russia is a joke. But
Exactly.
even there, he has not sat down with people to explain to them why is he doing this for 3 years. And in Russia, they're forbidden to call this a war. They don't call this a war. They call this special military operation.
Yeah.
And
Well,
journalists, that still to this day they call it that, even though 100,000 plus men, or maybe over, I don't know how many of their young men died on the front lines in Ukraine, but they're not allowed to utter the word war on television, and journalists that do that get jail time. So I don't think anyone in his country or internationally knows why he's doing this. The closest I have gotten to actually being able to like understand and get a glimpse of what he's thinking and what he wants to do is when he did the interview with Tucker Carlson,
mm-hmm.
which was last year around
Two
this
years,
time.
I think. Mm,
I think I don't know when it came out. I think it was like last year
mm-hmm.
around this time.
Can be. Can be.
And basically, and that was the first question, for to credit the Tucker Carlson, he actually, that was the first question he asked was, why now? Why did you launch this invasion? And the answer was basically ridiculous, because he kind of went back in history and he spent 40 minutes talking about the history of Russia and Ukraine and Kiev and Kievska Rus. And basically, I think at the end, what I understood, because he did not answer the question directly, but my understanding was that he actually doesn't believe that Ukraine is a separate entity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't believe that they have the right to exist as an independent
Exactly.
country.
Yeah, yeah.
And he even said that, in other interviews, that he believes that the dissolution of the Soviet Union was the biggest tragedy in his mind of the 20th century. So if his position is, well, this country doesn't have the right to exist, let alone do what I don't want them to do, let alone join NATO or the European Union, then it's so hard, of course, to negotiate with him. But somehow we've created this reality, not we, well, Trump has created this reality in his mind where Ukraine are the people, yeah, Ukraine is the country that's to blame. Ukraine is the country that's the problem. Zelensky is the guy that doesn't want peace. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not true.
Ridiculous.
It's
But
ridiculous.
we know the truth. Actually, Europe know the truth. Like,
Yeah.
this is only for the Americans, like I say in the beginning, and again, they just have to check the facts. But for us, we know the truth. The truth. We know what's exactly going on, and it's super near to us. Um, uh, Actually, you know what I read yesterday? I don't know if you know this, but North Korea sent people to the front to fight for Russia.
Yes,
Did you know
yes.
that?
That was already months ago. They sent
Wow,
people. Yes. Like, that was a month
I'm
or
so
two
late.
months ago. That's insane. I mean, North Korea people are dying of hunger, but they have soldiers to send to support Russia. Excuse me. Come on. If you are aligning yourself with the side of North Korea and Russia, like, this is something is seriously wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't have to read anything. If I see that North Korea helping Russia, yeah,
Ridiculous, ridiculous.
exactly,
But what you said, it's like, oh, why aren't the American people checking this and that? I think we kind of talked about this. There's people, when it comes to what Trump says or does, like, there's very few people that kind of try to take his statements and his positions one by one. There's either people that are completely hate him, which is usually, the Democrats, and people that are, the media, traditional media, they really hate him. He can do no right, he can do nothing right, he doesn't have any good policy positions, whatever. So they, by nature, by default, hate him. So of course they criticize him. But when that
but
criticism is
this is very
legitimate.
childish way of thinking. Like, this is very childish way of thinking. Like, come on.
Sure.
mm, Okay, I don't like someone, but mm, okay, you can like, you can be hater, but still you have to understand what exactly he's trying to say, what exactly he's trying to do, and why.
Yeah.
um, this is very childish. Like, oh, I don't want him, I hate him, he's bad. And I can understand. And we are talking about the future of world, not the future, or okay, in this case, the future of America, like
Yeah.
United States. Like, you can be, oh, I hate everything that he say, he's a stupid man and stuff. Not working like that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And this is actually, that's part of the reason why I think faith in media is going down so much. Like, it's going really like low, because people are not trusting what they're hearing, because they know, like, they're haters. But actually, that's what I was trying to say. It's like, when you keep, the story of the boy that keeps saying, like, I don't know actually if I can translate this, but like, he keeps
Right.
calling wolf, like, he keeps
Ah,
calling
yeah,
wolf,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's a wolf, there's a
When you
wolf.
lie 3 times, nobody believe in you. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
then when there's a legitimate point of criticism, which is like, I think what has happened over the last few weeks is definitely a legitimate point of criticism. And then when they do criticize, people don't take it so as seriously, because they're like, well, you hate him anyway. Why should we believe you? You don't like anything he does or says, anyways. So I think that's like there's that. And then on the side that's on the pro like Republican side, I'm seeing something which again is also something I don't like. You know how and again, for people that want to know, they can watch the first episode. But you know
Yeah.
how, for me, one of the things that made me kind of question like liberalism in general, was how people didn't stand up for their own values, for their own liberal values, and they kind of didn't say things that were very obvious, like I don't know, for example, if we look at the example of the United States, when people said we have problems with immigration, and the liberal side was like, no, no, that's not a problem. You cannot say this is a problem. Or we have a problem with inflation. And then they would say, like, no, actually, the prices are not going high. Like, there was this, like,
They
mm,
change the reality.
they changed the reality,
Gaslighting.
exactly.
Like,
And they were gaslighting people, but also the leadership themselves. They were not, maybe they didn't agree with everything that was going on, but they were self-censoring themselves because they were afraid. And I feel like I'm seeing something similar happen in the Republican side, where maybe so many, like the senators or congress people, or maybe Republican voters themselves, to the extent that they agree, they care about geopolitics, they don't agree with Trump on this specific issue, but they're self-censoring themselves because they don't want to get on his wrong side, which I don't think is freedom of speech. If
exactly.
you don't
It's the
agree,
same
you
thing.
don't agree, you don't
Actually, it's
have
the
to.
same thing.
It's
Like,
the same,
yeah, it's
exactly.
absolutely the
So
same.
you cannot keep criticizing the Democrats, saying, oh, well, you are going just towing the party line, basically following along with what the party says, and not speaking the truth, and turn into the same thing. If you don't agree, you don't agree, that's fine. But, it's not healthy for a political party to have 100% conformity. If everybody thinks the same way about every single issue, you don't have freedom. You don't have freedom of thought. You don't have freedom of speech.
Again, yeah, it's absolutely the same situation. Uh, with the Democrats.
Yeah.
But the main topic again, for me, it's what is the next, what's going on, how it's gonna be. Like,
Hmm.
and I'm worried because I'm not sure that Europe is strong enough without USA. I don't think that we are strong enough. Uh,
Yeah. We are not. We're definitely not
and what
yet.
I
We're
and
not yet.
yet, but what I understand right now, it's like, Russia, China, and North Korea and Iran, like, they are support each other.
Of
Uh,
course. Yes.
and can you imagine, they support each other, but Europe and USA,
Don't support each other.
yeah, and
Or worse, United States supports Russia.
yeah, and can you imagine this world, like like it's gonna be,
I
uh,
don't, I don't know what's gonna happen in a world like that. Look, I think for me, I don't know what's gonna happen. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but sadly, but I think in the short term, what this has showed us the last few weeks, because you started talking about Europe, I think we have come to a realization, which is that it's a good one actually
mhm.
for us,
We need
that
that, actually. If we have
exactly.
to be honest, we need that.
Exactly, because we have been relying, and by we, I don't mean like Eastern Europe, not so much, because we were in this with Soviet Union for like a long time. So we're kind of independent just the last 30, 35 years. But I think in general, Western Europe and Europe altogether has been relying on American military support to protect them. So we're in NATO, right? Nobody can touch us. You touch us, we attack back together.
Hmm.
Um, so that's why there has been so much stability and security, and Europe was able to like really downsize all of these armies it had, because I think for so many European countries, World War II was just so
Yeah, from
uh,
historical point, we know what. Yeah.
traumatic.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
traumatic that they don't want to invest in war anymore. They don't want to invest in defense. They don't want to have to invest in defense in a very substantial way. But I think this is an awakening, and it's a good one, which is basically like we have to be able to defend ourselves if something happens. We cannot keep relying on a country as good of an ally as it is to come over across the ocean to defend us. No, this is us. Like we have to be able to defend ourselves. And I would say that this point should have happened probably way before in history, like after, right after World War II. So not in, okay, 45, but maybe around 65, 75, there should have been already this conversation. Oh, are we gonna keep relying on the US for our defense and our support, or are we going to kind of build our own capabilities if it's necessary? But it didn't happen. You know why? Because the Cold War was happening. So I think now it's a natural point, after the 90s, the dissolution of the Soviet Union, all of that. It's been 30 years plus, and people are finally asking themselves this question is, okay, what's, like, if we have to defend ourselves, can we do it? And I think America is also what I talked about in the beginning of the episode. America is asking itself, do we want to continue being the police of the world? And given that we have so many problems domestically, and I think the answer for many Americans is not really. We don't want to keep having this position. And I think the question for Europe is like, are we able to defend ourselves? And I don't know, maybe we're coming at the point in history where there is a little bit of a, like, an amicable divorce gonna happen between Europe and America. I don't know.
Very good way to say it. Very good way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah. You
both
have right.
will benefit. I think Europe will benefit from being able to rely on its own. Obviously, not fighting between each other, but if there's a need, an external threat, and I think America may be able to benefit from investing more in itself.
Hmm. Yeah. But still, I'm not sure how it's gonna be. Like, I can imagine.
I can't imagine either, because that's been the world order for like 100 years. And as I
Yeah.
told you, I think we would have come to this point in history sooner were it not for the Cold War. But that war delayed this break. I don't want to say breakup of alliance, because I don't think the alliance will be broken, but maybe we will not be so, like, enmeshed together. Like, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
will be
I understand you.
a little bit, so it's like, okay, maybe not an amicable divorce. Maybe you separate your beds and you sleep in different rooms. Okay, maybe
That's
that's
romantic.
what's gonna that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You have right. This is a good thing if you think of this point of view. This is something good, and for sure, we need it. Like
Yeah,
Europe need this, but in general, I'm still worried because, in one hand we have again Russia, North Korea, China, and Iran. They are even stronger right now
they
because
are.
they support each other and they support the way of thinking. All of them are.
That's also that I think that's the most worrying part. Like, forget the whole military thing, but the way of thinking, as you
Yeah,
said, like the authoritarian, one man, one party, one supreme leader kind of
exactly.
thinking. That's very dangerous.
And yeah, and they support each other, and and if United States can understand what's going on, it's I don't know how it's gonna be. Like really, I start to think in general about the historical things.
Yeah,
Because always I think that we have to go back to see what's gonna be next. I don't know how I can say it, but we have to remember. And in historical way, this is something very new.
yeah.
Uh, Sasht and
Well,
Russia.
I think it's new, but it's also like, I think if you think about this, like, there's always been this process of, like, one empire rising and being very prominent and controlling the world, and then it kind of goes down in history, and then another takes its place, and then another takes its place. So if you're thinking about, okay, what's gonna happen, I hope it doesn't go to we don't have a divorce, but if we do, if America decides, okay, actually, we don't want to continue being the police of the world, we don't want to be, what they used to call, like what they still call them, it's like
Okay, but
the leader of the free world. We don't want to take this position. I think they need to understand and be okay with the fact with two things. One, they're not going to be the leader of the world anymore. If you don't want to be the world's policeman, that's fine. I get it. Again, I get it. I understand you completely, but you're not going to be the world leader. And two, you have to be okay with the fact that there's this position, this void is going to be filled by somebody else. That's it. It's not going to be someone you like. Maybe it's going to be Russia. Maybe it's going to be China. Maybe it's going to be India. Maybe we'll get our shit together and it's going to be the EU. I don't know, but it's going to be someone else.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You have right again. Um, but добре, okay, sorry.
Yes. Now,
Okay, I have another question.
mix. Yes.
Sorry, I have another question. Okay, uh, what's next for Ukraine right now? What's gonna happen for?
Yes. So what I was saying about like, oh, where's the world going? It's like a long term, but in short term, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think at the end, what they're trying to do, and from the conversations I've watched and the things I'm reading, they're basically trying to strong arm Ukraine into signing a deal where that's not going to work for them. And the deal is such that, yes, it's ceasefire. So, yes, they're going to end the war. They're fighting, the active fighting. But at the end of the day, they're gonna lose. They already lost Crimea.
Territory.
I
Yeah,
think it's not. There's no point in fighting over Crimea. It's lost. It's gone.
yeah, yeah.
Goodbye. Like, you have to understand that you have to compromise on land here. They're gonna have to compromise on, obviously, like the Donetsk and Lugansk and these regions in the east.
But it's too
Maybe.
much. I don't think that they will be okay with.
Yes, but I don't actually think that they're gonna be able. Like, here, I agree that they're with Trump. What he was saying, like, you don't have the strong hand. I don't think they will be able to get it back. We can give them trillions of dollars. They don't have manpower. They're not gonna be able to get it back unless we send boots on the ground and start sending our own soldiers, right, to fight. Because I don't think otherwise they're going to be able to get that land back. So, in my opinion, the way I see it, yes, they have to have some concessions on land, but from what I understand, what they're trying to do is they're trying to strong arm them and basically say, like, okay, you signed this peace treaty, but you don't have security guarantees from the United States, meaning if something happens again, you're on your own. I don't think that's a good deal for
Yeah,
Ukraine.
exactly. This is what. This is absurd. What kind of deal
Of
is
course,
this?
of course, they're not
Just
gonna
give me
sign.
your. Yeah, yeah. Just give me
Give
your.
me your word. Like, why would
Yeah.
they trust Putin? He's violated so many agreements before. Why would they trust that he's not gonna do it again?
Hmm.
But ultimately, I actually don't think, I told you, I don't think the end goal of Russia is going to be taking land. I think the end goal is taking full influence over Ukraine in a way that it suits them. So the end goal, maybe, yes, this ceasefire is signed and they take some land, whatever, they calm down for 5 years or 10 years. But ultimately, they are not gonna. Their aim is to not let Ukraine be an independent country. And what does independence mean? If you want to elect your leader that's pro-Europe, you're not gonna be able to do that. I think they're gonna want to get rid of Zelensky. If you want to join the EU, you cannot do that because we don't want
Belarus
that.
all over again.
Exactly, it's Belarus. You have to be like a like a, how we
Georgia
say,
or Belarus.
yeah, like we say in Bulgarian, bez glasna bukva, like a letter that doesn't have a sound. You
Yeah,
just have to be there and do what they say. And you want to join NATO? No, sorry, you can't. That goes
it's not
against
acceptable. It's not.
my priorities as a country. But you have to get it out of your head that Ukraine owes you something, and that is very hard. I don't think we will actually, even if they sign a deal, whatever the deal may be, I don't think this is going to be a lasting peace until there's this change in the way that Russia thinks about ex USSR countries, not just Ukraine. Ukraine is the biggest one because there's a war, but I don't know if you noticed, if you saw what happened with Moldova recently
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
with the elections. Georgia is a country that got attacked back in 2008. You
Exactly.
have Belarus, that's like basically the last dictatorship in Europe. It's like, I don't think a ceasefire is going to be the end because it doesn't change the mentality of Russia, which is saying this is our sphere of influence, and we get to say what happens here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm, yeah, but imagine after Ukraine, it's Moldova. After Moldova is Romania. After Romania, it's Bulgaria.
It's us.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
It's us. No, I
Uh,
don't think they care about us that much, to be honest. I don't know.
I'm not sure
But
about that. I'm not sure about that.
I don't know. But there's also something, very annoying when I'm watching the discourse happen in the West, especially about NATO, right? And NATO expansion, because the ones that are quick to blame Ukraine about the start of the war, they basically are saying like, oh, NATO made Ukraine join, and they start like they instigated the war. And I think they don't understand that we are already independent countries.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
we, and when I say we, like, of course I'm referring to our country, Bulgaria. Nobody put a gun to our head in 2004 and said you have to join NATO or else. We wanted to do that. We wanted that security guarantee. We
But
wanted
actually, I can do whatever I want.
exactly, like,
Like,
if we didn't want to, we wouldn't have done it, but we wanted to, and we didn't care if we're gonna piss off Russia because we are not Russia. If Russia doesn't want to join Ukraine, join NATO, they don't have to join it. But we, as an independent country, have the right to do that because we want to do it.
yeah, exactly. Russia can do whatever they want, and again, we can do whatever we want. Mm,
Exactly.
And yeah, this is absurd. Like someone, actually in Bulgaria, we have this problem. A lot of people, they are dating in this strange way that Russia is our biggest brother, and yeah,
That's not
our
true.
situation in Bulgaria
Yes,
how it
yes.
is. But
Some people.
yeah, but what's again, what is worries me, I don't know. I know that you are not so interested in Bulgarian political things,
I kind of
kinda,
am.
yeah. But
They're not as interesting. They're not
yeah,
as
but what
interesting.
I saw, all of the like most of the people was all or like mm, Trump is super cool. What he said to Zelensky, it's super cool. This is how it's going on. Like this is the truth. Our media, it's lying us. Trump say the truth, and and yeah, here in Bulgaria we are not so. Yeah, but this is a different topic.
But do you know why? I think it's because we also like this strongman mentality. Not we as in you and me, but the majority of the people here appreciate this mentality of the strongman, the one that can come in and tell you what to like, oh, what to do, what's the right thing to do, because we are, I think, it, if you think about it, like, again, psychologically, we like having someone to tell us what to do. And that's so true for our own country. They appreciate the strongman mentality. That's why I think they like it. What he did yesterday, in the Oval Office, a lot of people have liked it because they like the strongman mentality, and that's why they like Putin so
And
much as
at the
well.
same time, they are like, we want to be independent. We don't.
We don't know. We don't know what independence is. I don't think truly. So, of course, I think if you're part of, like, of course, we're part of organizations, right? Like, we're in the EU, we're in NATO, we're part of, like, so many international organizations. Of course, we're not truly like, oh, I'm going to do what I want and no one's going to tell me what to do. No. But I think ultimately, like, so few countries can truly afford to be independent.
But it's not something bad, because in
It's not.
actually, if
It's
you think
actually
about it,
so
in
good. It's so
yeah, yeah,
good.
because in the real life, if you think about it, like in normal life, you always uh, always have to do something, but like you always have to think about what people around you think. They are saying
Mhm.
to you like, you don't have to do this or you have to do this, and you always have this different point of view
Yeah.
about your decision even.
Yeah.
And I think this is the most normal thing in the world. Always you have to see the different point of view, like
Of
a
course. Yeah, of course.
like a
And I'm
person,
not
like a country, like a continent, and etc. You always.
exactly. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's also nothing wrong with independence, like wanting to be your own country, your own person, like understanding that yes, we're part of a community, but have to do what's best for us. Because if you don't keep doing what's best for you, then ultimately you will do what's best for others, and eventually
Yeah, but
this
you
is gonna
always
put you in a
listen
weaker
different,
position.
but always you have to hear a different point of view. Of course, the final decision about the situation is yours, but you have to see the different point of view.
Yeah,
In
I
opposite
understand.
way, you live, I don't know, super alone and isolate.
Yeah, I get it. And I feel like, again, like part of what I kind of like that's happening now, like one thing that I like is, how when the war started, everybody turned so aggressively against Russia, and understandably so. But I feel like when we in Europe and America at the time with Biden, our attitude was so anti-Russia, like everything was bad, and we didn't talk to them, and we didn't even try negotiating and trying to understand what they wanted. Like, I don't support that either. I feel like we should have maybe tried diplomacy back then as well, more, not just like, oh, we're trying diplomacy. No, actually tried to
Again, balance.
reach, yeah, balance. Because then back then the situation was so anti-Russia, like everybody was like, oh, they're so bad. I remember, I was living in Spain at the time, and people were banning Russian operas, and they were banning Russian plays
This
in
is too extreme,
theaters.
too extreme.
And I was like, okay, wait a second. I'm with Ukraine, but how is this helping the cause? This is not helping at anything. And I think this is, we've become so extreme in our views as people, thanks to, I don't know, social media or whatever. Maybe we don't talk to each other enough. But I feel like that was also something that happened then, which again, I kind of look back and think we should have been more moderate. We should have tried to talk to Russia more. But now, Trump is saying, well, I'm neutral. I'm trying to get peace. I don't think he's neutral. I think now the pendulum has swung to the other side, and he's just trying to like bad talk, like talk badly about Ukraine. And we're he's trying to do the opposite. He's trying to turn people against Ukraine and against Zelensky, and that I don't agree with either. I don't think he's neutral here. I don't think he's trying to negotiate it. He's trying to negotiate it on the terms that he and Putin probably agreed on.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I agree with you. Mm, Actually, our podcast is super, like super complicated to make because
We agree. We
always we
agree.
are in the same page. We have to find another person who is in the opposite.
Opposite, exactly.
Yep.
When we have enough subscribers, so that's why if people want to see other points of view or hear other points
Come
of
on,
view,
you
please
can.
subscribe.
Yeah, it will
But
be
yeah,
more
I would
easy to
say
talk because we will be like, yo, you're not right. See this, that, that, that. In our
exactly
case,
to create some conflict.
yeah, in our case, I always listening to you. I'm like, she's so
That
right.
makes
Damn,
sense.
damn, she
Exactly.
said so well.
No, but
Exactly.
I think it's good to, we would like to invite people when we have more viewers and listeners.
Come on,
So
guys,
please listen and please
like and
subscribe and
yeah.
like. Exactly. I never thought I would say these words in my life. But yes, I think we agree, because I think you and I shared this thing where we, at least I very humbly would like to say that I think I'm able to separate issues and think about things one by one and think critically, because I don't want to be in this like, this side is evil and we are right, and that side is evil and we're right, which is what's happening right now. It's like, oh, America is the best and Russia is evil, or like Russia is evil and Ukraine is the best. It's like, no, I would like to understand what everybody wants to do,
Hmm.
but also like, I don't want to sacrifice truth in the process. Like, I know some things are not true,
Hmm.
and I don't want to just get along, as what we talked about. Like, I don't, just because I think Trump is good on domestic policy for his country, I doesn't mean I'm going to say like I love everything he does. No, he's clearly wrong in this situation. So you have to be able to think critically about things, and yeah, discuss them in like in a way that's, you don't have to always put yourself in a box and be so tribal. I think we've become so tribal in political discourse, and maybe that's maybe like an introduction, a little sneak peek of our next episode that we want to do about the political divide and why it's happening and how do we move forward. But you don't have to be this tribal person that has to agree with everything one side or the other
Yeah.
side says. You can use your brain, you can use your eyes, you can use your ears, and just kind of think for yourself.
Yeah, it's not a football team, you know, to be
Yeah,
only a fan and you, yeah, we are the best and stuff. You all the time have to think about the again the different point of view to see what's going on with your party, with your way of thinking, because I think that we like we people change and we change
yeah,
our values, okay, not values, but we change our way of thinking, but
absolutely.
sometimes values too, because when you grow up and you start to realize a lot of things about life, about yourself,
About the
and
world, the way the
mhm,
world
mhm,
works, the
mhm.
other people as well,
and
yeah, for
and
sure.
actually life is simple but not so simple because it's simple, but it's not so easy to see things only bad and good. And
Yeah.
what I understand, Americans generally, they find everything in super easy way. They're like, this is good, this is bad, this is evil, this is good, and this is what I feel. Maybe I'm not right,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
but
think that's an impression. Look, I know some people like that
actually
are
you live there.
Americans.
Like I never lived there, and I don't
Yeah,
know. This is something that I feel, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think that's I lived there like 10 years ago, so things have changed a lot since then, but I would say like maybe it's an impression that they leave on people, especially if you're talking about politics, because they have only two parties. And to be
Not
honest, I
only
don't
about the
know.
politics, generally I find them that, for example, y- we are a big fan of Beyonce. Beyonce is the best and stuff. She's the goddess, she's the
Yeah.
queen. And after that they read something like something bad about her, and they're like, oh my god, she's so bad, she knows like and they're changeable, and when they change their opinion, it's extreme, you know. I like
Could
you
be.
right now. I hate you. You know that the cancel
Yeah.
culture was example for this.
That's so true. And this is
And
also
they
like,
was like,
uh,
he's a bad. And it's not working like that. Okay, people can make some bad things, of course, but you have to see the balance in the human nature, I think.
yeah, that's so true. And I think cancel culture, yes, it was so bad. And everybody, like so many people suffered unnecessarily because they said something that people don't agree with like 10 years ago. I mean, give me a break. But I don't know. I
Yeah.
wonder if if it's the Hollywood effect, or maybe there's also something, like they're very, by the way, like polite and in a polite in a way, like political correctness. Like, for example, political correctness would never work in Eastern Europe, never,
Yeah.
because people are just so like
Actually, we try it and it's not working at
it's
all.
not working because they're not brash, like they're not rude on purpose. They're just direct. Like, you see something, you say something. You don't just be like, oh, well, I don't know about that. No, it's like, I saw this. Maybe I'm wrong, but at the moment I saw it, I'm telling you, or this happened, or I think that way. So I think maybe it's like this idea. It may be the Hollywood effect. It may be the need to be seen as someone that's likable. Like, there's this like politeness. People kind of, if you've been there, like they do a lot of small talk, and they want to be kind of liked, which is not bad. It's not a bad thing per se, but I feel like it's kind of leading to these situations that you mentioned.
Hmm. Yeah, you have right, but yeah, again, mm, maybe the politeness is one of the reasons, but in my opinion, the way they maybe it's believing, like they believe in God more than us, for example, and the religion teach you that this is good and this is bad. Maybe, I don't know. This can be the reason.
It could be, but I feel like, I don't know. I never actually thought about the effects of religion, if it affects them in any way, but
Because
I
I know
don't.
that they are religion more than us.
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily like. I mean, I'm not sure. Actually, maybe we should get an American on a call next time on the podcast next
Okay,
time.
guys, again.
Anyone, if you help us get over 2,000 subscribers, maybe we'll be able to get a guest.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know what that is. I don't think it's religion necessarily because it changes so fast. As you mentioned, like one person can be. Look at what happened with Elon Musk. I mean, he was the darling of the media, of everybody. People liked him so much. They really like
Actually,
praised
it was
him.
the same with Trump in the
Especially with
beginning.
liberals, exactly, and then it just changed like that. So I don't think that's necessarily like religion, because if that were the case, like values don't change in religion. What's bad is bad and it always stays bad, regardless. So I don't know, maybe part of it is the Hollywood effect, part of it maybe it's the media, because I feel like the media, they're very focused on creating narratives. They're not so focused on, which is why people don't trust them. They're not so focused on telling you objectively, this is what happened today. This is like X, Y, and Z facts happened today, and letting you form your opinion about it. They have a lot of opinion segments because they have this 24/7 television cycle, which again we don't have like in Bulgaria, for example, we don't have that.
You mentioned that.
So yeah, last time we mentioned that. So I think the media is a master in creating narratives. So maybe the narrative changes